over, like, right over in this vicinity.
Okay.
And then there was a guy that ran, come here, from the edge of this building.
Okay.
Out, and he went up the street.
Okay.
And my husband yelled at him. He's like, "Hey, was that you?" And he just started taking off.
Okay.
So he tried to.
So there was a shot over here somewhere.
Yeah, like over here, and then he ran from like the edge of this building, the window building.
Okay.
And took up off that street where the cops got.
All right. Nobody here though, right?
No.
You're fine here.
We're fine.
Okay, go lock yourself up there.
Come here.
Back towards you. Copy. I'm gonna get out on foot and just checking behind these buildings in case anybody's down.
Well, I know those people called.
She called.
Yep.
I talked to her, but what were they saying about this place?
That's where they think they heard the shot from. And that's what she initially had told me. So.
Like right here.
Yeah, it's that old dentist's office. Brandon and I walked through there. We came all the way back around through here. So
she's given that as the address where the RP is, or that guy. Doesn't make any sense.
She told me that she was sitting out here. She heard the shot. I was standing in front of this old building, this old accountant's office. When the shots went off, she hollered at him. And he goes, "Was that you?" And I took off running up my old house.
So there's another house right here that's newly, they just moved into it. It was where,
the one on this side?
just
or?
on the other side of the fence on the right. So let's go check. It's off El Paso.
Yeah, make sure there's no casings or
But
something
there's a
laying back
car
in
there I
there.
didn't recognize, so.
Okay. What do you got? Okay, this is a chiropractor office. Got a body down? Okay. Okay. Sheriff's office! Come in! Cover that door. Okay, we're gonna kick it.
Kick it. I'll go in.
Ready? Hold the door, I'll pull my foot out. Okay, hold on that. Hold on it. Anybody else in here?
One dead.
He's still warm, but I would say he's down. There's a bullet hole coming through there.
I don't see a wound.
I don't either. Alright, is that all clear?
We've got a bunch of bullets through here.
Okay, so why don't we stay, let's clear that. Somebody, why don't you hold on this?
All right, today is Friday, March 13th, 2020. By my watch, it is approximately 13:50. We are here at 6613 Main Street, Monastery, Idaho. We are in the second floor apartment on the west side of Highway 2 in Mr. Isaac Spain Ireland's home and Miss Aaliyah Sandelin, thank you, home. We are here with Miss Aaliyah Sandelin. I'm Idaho State Police Detective Richard Alderson. With me,
Detective Leslie Lehman.
Aaliyah Sandelin.
all right, do you mind if I call you Miss Aaliyah? Miss Lee, if you will, if you can just starting on Thursday, March 12th, approximately 18:30, or sorry, 6:30. My apologies. Start around 6:30 and just kind of fill us in on what you observed.
Okay, so 6:30 we were sitting on our couch watching some TV, and on the south side of us is the Les Schwab building. There was a vehicle that was parked behind cars that were parked correctly in the parking lot. There was a person that was getting in and out of their car for a little while, and so I asked my fiance if he thought it was weird, and he just got up and looked, and then after that they left. Later on, about 7:30ish, there was a gunshot when I was cooking dinner, and my fiance was outside putting license plates on my car that I had just gotten.
Approximately how much later was that?
Which part?
From the time you saw it till when you took it. About what time was it? About an hour?
The gunshot went off, and I ran outside to make sure my fiance was okay, and I yelled at him and said, "Are you okay?" And he peeked around the corner from my vehicle at the end of the building, and he said, "Yeah." And then we both looked over kind of as he was walking towards me. I was on the porch and he was below the porch on the pathway. Then we both looked over, and there was this man that was going between two buildings on a little pathway that led up to a parking lot.
So would you mind, when you looked over, can you explain exactly where you were looking over at?
I was on the porch, so I was up a little higher so I could see. And I looked over towards, it's an old dentist office building that's right next to the Bar North coffee shop. And he was coming from behind the building and going towards a glass shop building and like walking along it. And then at that point, when we had seen him step out onto the concrete, my fiance yelled at him and he said, "Hey." And then he said, "Was that you?" And he didn't reply. And then he said, "What are you doing?" And the man replied and said nothing. At that point, he had like reached his left hand up to kind of like peek his hoodie back just a little bit to see who was looking at him and talking to him. And then after that, he kind of just walked really fast up through the wood shop building and the glass building. And then at that point, my fiance had told me to let the dogs out. And so I let the dogs out, and he was going to go try and take a picture of the man to show the police if it was something suspicious.
Okay, and if you will, let's back up to when you initially see the figure behind the dentist, the former dentist's office. Can you describe clothing, body type, etc.?
It was a little heavier set. He was wearing black sweatpants and a black, I thought it was kind of a silky jacket. I'm not quite sure on that, but he did have a beanie on. Okay. I know that for sure. But he like I think he had a hoodie on, his hoodie on. Right. But don't quote me. And he like peeked it back because I saw him pull it back to look over his shoulder to see me and Isaac. And then that's when he kind of just looked back at his direction that he was going and went around.
And you said what color was the jacket?
It was black.
Black. So black jacket, black sweats. Footwear?
I didn't get old. I didn't see anything. Okay. It was dark. It wasn't like you noticed anything light. Right. Like it was black.
And you said the head
beanie?
Beanie?
Yeah.
Hands?
I couldn't see his right hand. The only hand that I saw was his left hand when he pulled back his hoodie.
Right. Any description of his face?
When I looked at him, he looked like he had a beard to me. That's all I saw because I wasn't where my fiance was, standing where you could see his face better. So. Okay.
Did it appear that he had any objects in his hand, in his possession?
His right hand wasn't moving a whole lot, so it was like kind of like his left hand was kind of just hanging before he pulled up his hoodie, and then his right hand was just kind of sitting there. So.
Okay. You had mentioned that, and let me back up. What do you estimate the distance was from where you were at the porch and when you saw him pull the hoodie back?
Probably about 30 yards. Maybe.
30 yards, maybe? Yeah. Okay. And how much time did he have the hoodie back where you were able actually to look at him?
Probably about 5-6 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe a little longer.
What was it? Describe for me again in detail. What was it about him in particular that made that instance suspicious?
Well, after I heard the gunshot and he was like like jogging like a little bit faster than jogging like out of the bushes from behind the building. And to me that doesn't seem right because nobody ever walks behind there and nobody runs out from behind a building, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just, and then he didn't say anything, was that you? He didn't even acknowledge that there was a gunshot or anything.
Right.
Like, you know, people would be scared and be like, what's going on? They wouldn't run. They'd
Right.
just stand still.
And how soon after the gunshot from the time when you saw him?
Probably about 10, 20 seconds,
Okay.
maybe, because I ran outside.
And no, you didn't see anybody else?
No, maybe it was from when my fiance got back from the store, I believe. He's asked, there's this gentleman that was just walking down the street, but I don't think he's anything to do with it. But he said he didn't even hear the gunshots.
Okay. And he was just walking down the street?
He was just walking down the sidewalk next to our building.
Okay. About how long after the actual shot?
Half an hour, maybe.
Okay.
It was when all the cops were going in between buildings and looking and stuff.
Okay. And he just asked him that because he just
He
happened
just
to
said, did you hear that? And he, like, I think he had earbuds in. He, like,
Okay.
so I, you know, I
Right.
don't know.
So then, after your husband, you let the dogs out, the husband,
He literally took his car and tried to find him and take a picture of him.
okay, and
In case he was, like, suspicious
okay.
or something.
And what are you what are you doing during this time?
I was going back to cooking hamburgers.
Yummy.
Yeah.
And then your husband comes, or excuse me, your fiance comes back.
Yeah.
And any other interactions with the cop? Any other suspicious?
After he came back from the store, no, it was while he was at the store, the police officer drove up to me and was like, hey, were you the one that called? I was like, no, that was my fiance. And I told him the story and what we'd seen and everything. And he was like, okay. And then he had a call from somebody else, one of the other cops, that he had to go. So
Right.
And then they came back a couple other times, and so we told our story. And then Mr. Watson, I believe it's the sheriff, he came into my house after they had him over there. Like, he's still over there.
Sheriff Kramer or Deputy Watson?
I don't know. I know it's
The sheriff is
I didn't
Kramer.
catch his name. He was wearing green.
It might have been a deputy.
Okay.
The sheriff is Sheriff Kramer. But while looking, Watson, you said his last name was?
Watts.
Watts.
Caleb.
sorry.
Yeah. It was
Oh, Caleb.
Yeah.
Red
I know-
hair, ginger.
Yeah, I know Caleb. So
Okay.
it's.
And you said he showed you pictures, or was that?
This morning about 7:30, he showed me pictures of what they had found, and that they had thought that was him.
Okay.
And that's about it. And then later that he forgot to have me sign it, so he came back later today around, maybe like 10:40, 10 something. But he had me sign it, date it, and put the time that I saw it this morning.
Okay. I asked the same question. I asked your husband. Do you have any knowledge of who works in that building?
No, I don't.
Do you know the
I
victim?
didn't even know that anybody was in there.
Okay. So you don't know the victim?
No.
No relationship with anybody, business owner or anything? Any knowledge of any local grudges, local hits, anything pointing in gangs, anything that would point to
No,
the
I know
violence?
that when it was a dentist office, my grandma used to go there, but that's about it.
Okay.
So that's all I know.
Right.
Nothing else for me.
Okay. With that, we will stop the tape. By my watch, it is approximately 1400.
Tell us about last night.
I mean, basically, I'm staying at the hotel, so whenever, I get back about 5:30, so I'll do some stuff in the TV a little bit. Last night I went and got groceries at the Safeway. I think maybe about 5:40ish I got back to the hotel. Just changed, ate a little bit. Then every night I just go for a walk, go through the tunnel, up the stairs, up the sidewalk, till sidewalk closed on this side, and then cross over, and then walk down.
About what time is that?
safely. I think I probably left the hotel about 6:40.
Okay.
And then I'm usually about an hour I'm go out walking.
Okay. You left the hotel and which way? So
So
that from you.
you come through that tunnel
Mm-hmm.
and go left.
So you got coming
through
under
the-
95
through
up
the
there.
veterans thing there. Then I go up the steps and just follow the sidewalk up till that sidewalk closed. I think it's right after that like karate studio or something, karate place or whatever it is there.
Okay, so where,
Then I cross over where that sidewalk closed sign is on this right side going that way.
okay. And where'd you go to?
I just cross over and then walk
Yeah.
kind of to the Safeway and back.
Okay, but, oh, so you went to the Safeway after? Cause I thought you just said you went and got groceries and then from
Yeah.
Safeway and then came back.
Then went back to the hotel.
Oh,
then
okay.
went for a walk.
And then you walked to the Safeway again.
Yeah, just turn around there because the sidewalk kind of ends up at the Safeway.
Okay, so you left the 640, you walked all the way up, went to Safeway.
Yeah, loop back around through the parking lot out back to the main road.
Did you go in Safeway?
No.
Okay.
I think on the way there, I kind of jot off on one of the roads, and then there's I don't know what's back there. There's like a big fairground maybe or something, or I don't know what that is. And just kind of cut through that parking lot back to the.
Do you know about what time you got to Safeway?
Not exactly. On my way back, I don't remember exactly where it's kind of where you start cresting back down the hill here.
Mm-hmm.
This guy in a station wagon had just pulled up to maybe their apartment, and he stopped. He's like, "Hey, did you hear some shots?" And I said, "Well, not really. I had my headphones on, so."
So some guy in a station wagon?
Yeah, it's like a gray station wagon. He had 2 German Shepherds that came out.
Where was that at? That was at the crest of the hill?
Coming back this way, yeah.
No, he stopped you at the crest of the hill?
He was parked on the long side of the sidewalk there, whatever. Yeah, it's coming back this way, so.
Gray station wagon, he had 2 dogs?
Maybe is there a mobile on this side?
So what, you know what type of dogs they were?
I think they were German Shepherds.
Okay. And he was parked, was he facing northbound, southbound?
Facing this way, but not in the road. He was just,
he was off.
He was like unloading at his apartment or something.
So when you were walking back, he was on the left?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what side of the road were you on?
I would be the left side. And then he had asked.
The left side coming northbound?
Coming back to the hotel.
Oh, so you're not talking up the hill, you're talking down here, after you come through the tunnel.
So when you're coming through, when you saw him, which side of the highway were you on when you were coming back to the hotel?
Coming back, which was, I'm just guessing.
The
Yeah.
highway's up here.
So if I'm coming back to the hotel, I was walking on this side of the road.
On the left side of the
And then
highway.
after I talked to him, I saw a cop car, another cop car, another cop car, and an ambulance, I think, coming. So,
Okay. But you were at the top of the hill at that time?
roughly.
Okay.
I think I had texted someone I'm working with, of like, hey, I just heard some shots, saw some ambulance and stuff.
So you
I
said
would say that
to
was-
somebody else you heard some shots?
Well, I was like, I had my headphones on, I kinda heard something, I didn't realize at the time they were gunshots, and that kid asked me, he's like, hey, did you hear some shots? And then I kinda realized, oh, maybe those were, and then, that was just pretty much it.
Okay, and the car was parked also on the left?
Yep.
Okay. Can you describe that kid?
I'd say 20s, kind of smaller. 2 German Shepherds.
And it looked like that was like his apartment there?
I think so. Possibly. It looked like he was carrying things into something, so,
Okay.
and he was letting dogs out of the back.
Okay, so you had your headphones on, but then you said, so you thought you heard something. Where were you at when you thought you heard something?
Kind of a little before I saw him, but it was faint. I just didn't even think anything of it at the time because I had my headphones on.
So just some faint sound, might have been gunshots?
Yeah, because I walk every night, and then I had heard some shots before a couple of times. I thought so. It didn't really surprise me anymore. Like previous days, maybe.
Okay.
So I didn't know if there was a shooting range or anything.
and a little before. So give me a time frame on that, like a minute, 2 minutes, or like
Maybe a
seconds.
few minutes. You know, I don't know exactly. I don't know where the kid had heard him either. You know, if he was.
Okay. I guess in distance wise.
Kind of just behind me, maybe.
Okay. So I mean, how far from where you met the kid? How far up the road did you hear him?
It's hard to tell. It was
So
just.
you don't know
it
what
was
you were
faint.
walking by at that time?
No. It was just faint. I really didn't think like
Okay.
that. Hey, these are gunshots until the kid asked me.
Hmm.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah.
What was your conversation?
He said something and I didn't hear him because I had my headphones on. I kind of stepped over and was like, "Hey, did you hear those gunshots?" I'm like, "No, I don't think so." That was about it.
And where'd you go from that point?
I just kept walking to the hotel room.
On the sidewalk?
Yeah.
On the left side of the highway?
Yep.
You didn't cross the highway?
No.
Okay. Let's go back a bit. Go back to say.
About an hour or so later, it was about 7:30ish, maybe a little bit later. My fiance was cooking dinner, and I had gone outside to put plates on her new vehicle. And at this point, I had gotten the back license plate on, and I'd heard a gunshot. And
Would you mind telling me where the vehicle was located, sir?
the vehicle is north of my apartment, about 40 feet at the
Okay.
end of the building.
So right along Highway 2?
Yeah,
So
and it's facing north, the same way that traffic would flow on Highway
Okay.
2.
And you can see from where you were with the car, you could see the building in question across the street?
Yes.
Okay.
I heard a gunshot, and then I heard either a second one or an echo. Everything in this neighborhood echoes like crazy, so it could have been an echo. I believe it was a second gunshot. Possibly not. And then I saw my fiance had come out the door and to check on me because she heard the gunshot too. I peeked my head around the corner and I asked her if she heard it. She yelled down to me from our porch and said yes, she had. At this time, I had seen a figure over my left shoulder, and I turned that way to see what was happening, and it was someone very suspiciously running from, I don't know how to explain this, it's a little pathway on the other side of the building across the street from us.
Okay,
It's kind of up against a fence. It's not somewhere you would generally just walk through.
Right. And so just to clarify, where are you standing and where are you looking as you're seeing this?
I am standing down by the corner of the building still, where
Okay.
our cars are, and I am facing east to the building across the street.
Looking across the street, okay.
Yes. And that's when I see him run from in between the building and I believe they still have a fence up back there. There's a little grass yard with a couple trees and a fence up. It's not somewhere you would just walk through.
Gotcha.
Like no one walks through there. Previous to this, there's also been a few bags sitting over there for a week or two. I don't know. They've been over there for a minute. They were kind of up against the building. Like, I don't know. No one ever seen them. I didn't see anyone ever touch them. They've just been sitting there.
What kind of bags?
Like personal bags.
Personal bags.
Like
yeah.
a backpack and a
Okay.
duffel bag.
And they're no longer there?
I haven't checked since.
Okay.
I haven't been able to go over there since.
Okay.
At this point, he had gotten out of that yard and up onto the concrete next to the glass shop, which is like a window and car glass shop.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to stay in the shadows, and I thought it was suspicious, so I yelled at him. I said, "Hey," and then he didn't do anything. And I said, "Was that you?" And he had looked back at me, but I didn't really say anything. And then I said something else. I can't remember what it was. But at that point, he had looked back at me, and we kind of got a picture of his face at that point. It was still pretty dark out and hard to make out, but enough to describe a little bit.
Would you mind describing, sir, what you saw?
I saw a figure that was approximately 5'8". He had tanner skin, He was white.
Okay.
He had a mustache. I believe that's all I saw for facial hair was a mustache. He was a little bit heavier set in the midsection.
Okay.
Like a little bit chunky, I guess would be a way to put it. And yeah, that's about all I saw. He was wearing black sweats. I believe he was wearing a black sweatshirt and I believe I saw a vest too. Pretty sure I saw him wearing a vest. He definitely had a beanie on.
Okay. Definitely had a beanie.
Yes.
Was he wearing a hooded sweatshirt or just a?
I believe so. Yeah.
Was the hood down up?
The hood was down, I believe.
Okay. Any noticeable footwear or gloves?
No.
And the only exposed skin you saw was
his hands.
The hands.
And his face.
And his face.
But even his face was pretty dark with the beanie and everything to make out.
So no noticeable tattoos or cuts, scars, anything? Okay.
At this point, I was like probably about 80 feet away.
80 feet. That was going to be my next question. So you're 80 feet when you got the look.
I'm 80 feet west of him, yeah.
Okay.
At that point, I had yelled up to my fiance to let our dogs out, and she let the dogs out, and I put them in my car really, like, it was super quick. It all happened super fast. I started my car, threw him in there, and I went to chase him down to see if I could see where he went. The last place I saw him walk was just north of the glass shop and the building he had walked behind. There is a custom wood shop. The man builds benches and birdhouses and whatever else. He had walked behind that building. And
I'm trying to pull up a map, but keep talking.
And I didn't see where he went from there. I had gotten in my car and tried to track him down, and I couldn't find him and just didn't really see anything. And at this point, it was probably about 5 minutes after the gunshot. I was driving in the alleyway, and I had made my phone call to the police to let them know what I heard and what was going on.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't have even called him if I didn't see the way that guy was acting, just because everything about him was he looked super stressed out and suspicious.
Right.
That's the vibe I picked up from how he was acting. And so I had made my call to the police in the alleyway, and then I'd come back through right where the crime scene was, actually, through that drive-through area.
Right.
I drove back through there.
Okay.
And I had come back home and parked the car and brought the dogs inside.
Okay, so after you called the police, and he was there, you left, and he was still sitting there when you...
He was moving the whole time I saw him. The only time he stopped was the 3 times I yelled at him.
Okay.
Each time he stopped, and the first time he stopped, the second time he stopped and looked back, and then the third time he stopped and looked back and moved a piece of clothing so that to see his peripheral vision better. Right. And that's at the point I had seen his face.
Okay. So I have here for the tape, I have just my smartphone, and we're currently on a satellite view, and we're going to start out here, obviously centered at your apartment. So what I'll have you do for me, sir, if you don't mind again, we'll try to put some street names and identifiers so we can recreate this. So I will hand the phone over to you, and I'll kind of come stand so I can see and just kind of talk me through these places, what you're seeing, and we'll use street names and stuff like that so we can kind of get a good idea.
Is that my apartment right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, off of Main Street, just across from Les Schwab's truck stop, is the Far North Coffee Shop, which isn't on the satellite view. And this building used to be a dentist. I don't know what it is anymore. These trees aren't here anymore either.
Right.
There's a little pathway right back there, and there's a fence right there, I believe.
Okay.
And he had ran from right there, and he was about right here when I first yelled at him. Like right there's a 6-inch curb right there.
I'm gonna take a screenshot of what we're looking at here real quick.
Okay. So there's a 6-inch curb just past the non-existent tree line currently. There's no tree line there anymore. And he was standing just on the top side of it. And this is that building that is the glass shop. And the third and second time I yelled at him, he was just about to the corner of it, like right where the shadow is on that building almost.
So it looks like he'd moved probably 5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Approximately.
North.
And so our cars are right there.
Yep. So so you're saying you're on the north of the building and it's to the west of Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And so I'm standing right here. I yelled at him. He's up here. And
another screenshot.
My fiance let the dogs out, and then I put them in my car, and I had seen him run over to here.
Gotcha.
The other side of this wood shop over here. I don't know if you want to screenshot that or not.
Thank you, sir. There you go.
So the street that he would have been closest to at the time would be El Paso Street. He was about to the end of it, and the place I took my car was directly across the street. I shot up into this drive-through right here.
Okay.
And then I went up Tyler Street. I took a left on Hillside Alley, and I... Northbound, correct. And I turned around at... thought this alley went all the way through. Maybe it doesn't. I turned around near Van Buren Street.
Okay.
To go back southbound. The place that I believe he ran to is... I don't even know if it shows it on this map. There's like a little cul-de-sac area right up here somewhere. And there's a pediatrics building. I can actually show you it from my porch, but I don't think we can see it on the maps.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like right in here somewhere. And the parking lot's super dark at night.
Gotcha.
Like you can't just see into it.
So as you're coming back in the south near the Van Buren, that's when you notice that same Impala
parked in the dark parking lot.
Parked in the dark parking lot, which you noticed half an hour before.
No one it hadn't moved at the time. Okay. And it was weird because the businesses are all closed like 7:30, 8-ish at night. No one should really be in that building, to my knowledge. So at this point, I had been coming back down El Paso. I turned into the alleyway behind Far North and drove through the drive-through in the coffee shop directly across the street from my house.
Okay.
Which is right here now. Right there.
Yep.
At this point, I had come back to the house and I was asked to go get mustard for dinner because we're kind of in the process of that. So I went and got mustard. The cops had all flown past at this point, southbound on Highway 2.
Right.
And they were kind of going in and out of all the streets up here looking for whatever they were looking for. And I was just pulling out as they had all passed, and I was waiting for traffic to clear up. And that's when I saw that black car up in this parking lot about start up. I saw the headlights shine directly in my eyes. That's what caught my attention. Then I saw him pull out and head northbound.
Okay, so he headed northbound on Highway 2.
Mm-hmm.
In that Impala.
And yeah, it's pretty much. There's probably detail I'm forgetting that I will remember later, but humans are.
All right, so did you call anybody after you saw him proceed after the cops and let them know what you saw, or was that the end of your involvement?
I did not, because I didn't have my phone on me.
So let's go through just some follow-ups for me.
Or yeah, I did have my phone on you because you called me at the store.
It was my phone.
Oh.
So you'd mentioned you heard the gunshot while you're outside. What is your experience hearing audible gunshots?
I've been around guns most of my life, and to me, guns are something that, like, when you hear a shot, it's just kind of like one of those familiar sounds you recognize.
Right.
Kind of like if you work somewhere, you get used to all the sounds that you're around, and then you hear something that's off, and your brain knows just by the noise that something's going on different.
So you've had experience hearing audible gunshots?
Yeah, it sounded like a pistol.
Okay.
It didn't sound like a large rifle or anything. It just sounded like a pistol to me.
Okay. Have you shot a lot of pistol and rifle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We already answered the question about how far away you were when you're looking. Let's see if I've gotten this picture yet from. Have not been sent a picture yet. And you have not been shown a picture of the current suspect?
No, my fiance has, but I have not. I was at work this morning when that took place.
Right. I was supposed to get, not received.
I told the sheriff last night too that I wanted to go to work today. He wanted me to stay home so that they could do their interview, but I told him I wanted to go to work. So
Okay.
I got the day off at lunch and I told him I'd help out after that.
Okay, sweet. Well, we do appreciate it. I, at this point, don't have any questions for clarification.
So the vehicle that you drove, you drove, then ran an errand, and then you went, did you take it to work this morning?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, I still may want to take a look at the tires just on the off chance, since you came down through the alley.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
They're still studs. I don't know if
okay.
the tires in the alley had studs in them or not, but mine
Okay.
do. They're probably worn off though, knowing me.
Didn't you drive my car?
When I went after him? No, I drove your car to the store.
Okay, that's nice.
I drove my car when I went after him.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I've never driven your car before until last night.
And how many conversations have you had with the police?
A lot. I don't know. Probably.
Regarding this.
Roughly. I've told the story roughly 10 times.
Okay.
Okay.
I gave them all the information I could remember last night.
Right.
So I was out there for a while with them.
Right. Do you know anything about the victim next door?
I don't. I don't even know who it is. I never saw him.
So you've never been over to have chiropractic work done next door?
Mm-mm.
You don't know who the chiropractor is next door?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And we have your wife here to question.
There's a chiropractor's office next door?
There's a chiropractor's office.
Or is it the massage therapy place in this building?
According to the sign outside, it's a chiropractor. I can't say 100% whether, but my understanding is that the victim is a doctor who works as a chiropractor there on not a random basis, but a travel type basis. So you have no relationship with anybody in that building or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing for me right now.
All right. With that, we'll stop the tape. By my watch, it is approximately 13:40. Stop tape. All right. Today is Friday, March 13th, 2020. By my watch, approximately 14:02. We are still here at 6613 Main Street, Bonners Ferry, in the second floor apartment of Isaac Spain, Ireland, and Aaliyah Sandelin. Oh, my apologies. Okay. I am still Idaho State Police Detective Richard Alderson. With me,
Detective Leslie Lyman.
Isaac Spain, Ireland.
So we just want to do another quick interview. During the interview of Miss Aaliyah, I realized there were a couple questions that I want to clarify before we did the walkthrough of what all Mr. Spain, Ireland had seen. Mr. Isaac, if you can, just describe for me what was it about the car. Two things. One, what was it about the car parked at Les Schwab that made it seem suspicious to you, both before and after, and then what was suspicious about the gentleman that you saw after the gunshot?
Alright, so the reason the car was suspicious to me at Les Schwab, I mean, it is a normal nightly activity for people to pick up their vehicles there, but it was parked like it was waiting to leave. It was parked like it was ready to leave, and regardless of whether it was before the scene or not, it was just sat there for a long time. Just like not really with a clear objective of what he was trying to do or get at.
Right.
So, I don't know. He was there for a while. That's the only reason it was suspicious to me, is for how long he sat there in the exit of Les Schwab, like, ready to leave.
Right.
Afterwards, I had seen the car leave the pediatrics parking lot in that little cul-de-sac up the street from us. Les Schwab is south from our house, and the pediatrics office is north. I had seen it leave from that area, and it's a completely black parking lot. To my knowledge, there should be no one in that building that time of night unless it was a cleaning person, but they left like right after all the cops had passed going the other way.
Right.
And they went the opposite way, and they just kind of like got out of there. It was just weird too, because the car had started up and then its headlights flicked on and it immediately left. It wasn't like someone getting done cleaning the office where you start your car, you kind of sit there for a second, you're like, okay, I just got off work, and then you leave. No, they started their car and immediately left. Like
Right.
it was it happened like that type
Right.
thing.
Gotcha.
The reason I thought the man was suspicious is
Immediately after the shooting, now we're moving to, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I was talking about the car, just the car in that situation. So immediately after the shooting, the reason I thought the man was suspicious is I heard the gunshot back there, and approximately 30 seconds later, he ran out from behind that building. That was weird to me that he came out from back there, because no one walks back there. No one even really knows that you can walk back there unless you live right here and you've walked around the neighborhood and looked at those little details.
Right.
But from when you're driving by, it just looks like a little fenced off, like where the leaves fall below the trees. Like it's not somewhere you walk or go and sit and smoke a cigarette or any of that. It's just there.
Okay.
It's not something people really pay any attention to. And he came out from back there, so it was really weird. He looked super stressed in his body by the way he was moving and walking. He just seemed super stiff and like almost shocked at himself or shocked at whatever had gone on. And he just seemed super, like, his body movements seemed super stressful and aggressive and quick, and it was just a weird place for someone to be coming after just a lot of weird circumstances happening one after another.
Okay. So, and did you want to also mention just the weird conversation
that I had with him?
Well, not with him, but with your coworker.
Oh, yeah. So I went to work this morning. I was actually late to work this morning. My boss called me and woke me up.
Right.
After everything last night, he had called me, woke me up. He was like, "Hey, are you coming to work today?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on my way." I immediately jumped up. I ran down to work. And he said good morning, said it was okay for me to leave at lunch to do this interview.
Right.
And at that time, I had walked over to where the rest of the employees are working, and none of them, I didn't think any of them knew anything, but the first thing that one of my coworkers had said to me is, "Hey, that guy didn't happen to look like me, did he?" And then it was just, I don't know, just the way he asked it was really weird. It wasn't, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, you'd have to hear it. It was just weird. It wasn't, like, he didn't laugh at it like it was a serious joke, but he didn't act like it wasn't a joke. It was just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was just super weird.
Right. How long had you known this particular, what was this employee's name?
Spencer, I believe.
Spencer, you believe, but you're not for sure?
Yeah.
What, describe him for us?
Tall, slicked back, gray and brown hair. No facial hair. Usually wears a ball cap.
How old do you think?
40.
Okay.
Approximate weight, height and weight?
180 pounds and 6'11".
5'11" or 6'11"?
6'11". Or no, 5'11", sorry. My brain's everywhere.
Yeah, no, I assumed as much. I'm about 5'11", so 6'11" would be
really tall.
Yeah. And how long had you, and we'll just call him employee since you're not 100% certain of his name. How much interaction had you had with this coworker prior to this statement?
I don't know. I've known him for like 3 hours that I've actually like been around him.
Okay. And that's going, how far back has he been working there?
I don't know.
So is it large enough employment where you don't know everybody that works there?
Mm-mm. There's only like 12 employees.
Okay.
Maybe even 6 now.
So he's newly hired on, or?
don't know if he's newly hired on. He says he's been working with trees like that his whole life, but he's new to this year's season.
Okay, yeah, that's what.
His season just started up. So.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. Now you said you were in previous conversations. He had told you what about the jail?
Oh, he said he was going to jail. Yesterday he said that he was going to jail today. And I made a joke. I said, say hi to my cousin while you're in there. And
do you have a cousin in jail?
I don't know if he's in jail right now, but probably, yeah. I had said, say hi to my cousin while you're in there. And he asked me who my cousin was. And I had told him, because everyone knows everyone in this town, he knew him anyways.
Right.
And he's like, oh, he's not in jail. And he's like, and then he went on talking about how he has been in jail more than anyone in this town, which I thought was weird. He was like bragging about it.
Right.
He said he's been in and out of jail his whole life, and he's seen 4 sheriffs go through this station here in town.
Right.
Like personally, just from the time that he's been in there, he said he's seen 4 sheriffs being trained.
Right.
And I don't know, I just thought it was weird that he was bragging about how much he's been in jail, and then this morning he asked me that question with a really weird demeanor.
How did he know that you were a witness of it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, had you told?
I haven't told anyone. I told my boss that I was across the street when an incident happened. I was at my house and I told him someone got shot across the street from me, and that I was gonna have to take the next day off at lunch, and I asked him if that was all right. He had said yes.
And when did you have that conversation with your boss?
I texted him it last night.
Last night, okay. So there's a potential that the boss made that announcement to people, or?
I doubt it, but probably he could have, but he's not the type of person to spread other people's business.
Yeah, no. What's your boss's name?
Robert Wolf.
Okay. So it struck you as odd that the coworker knew that you had knowledge.
Well, not only was he the first one to say something and ask me directly about the incident, afterwards the other coworkers were like, what happened?
Right. Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
For all I know, he could have nothing to do with it. It was just really weird the way it worked out in his demeanor, and
right.
I don't know, a lot of weird stuff's been going on the past couple days around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So with that, we will stop the tape. It's approximately 14:11 by my watch.
All right. It is April 2nd at 12:24 by my watch. We were doing an interview in regards to the Bryan Drake homicide. I am Idaho State Police Corporal Andy Hodel. I am here with
Idaho State Police Detective Brittany Clark.
Okay, Tim, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tim Hand. I'm Canadian. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was down there visiting friends. I was going down Main Street at 7 o'clock on March 12th. I forget what day that was. But anyways, I was going down and a car pulled out in front of me with no lights on, which I just thought was strange. And he went from Les Schwab's across the street over to far north or something where that crime scene was. Okay. But anyways, at the time, didn't think nothing of it, but I thought, that's kind of strange, the car had no lights. So then, an hour later, I come back after ice cream at Super 1, and then all the police were around there, and I didn't think nothing of it. And then, as the days went by, I put 2 and 2 together. It was bothering my conscience, because my good friend told me that a doctor got killed there. So I thought, I don't know if that vehicle had something to do with it, but I thought it was a Volkswagen Passat in the 80s. I remember them when I was younger. And so at the time, I didn't get the license number, and I couldn't tell if there was more than one person in the vehicle.
And what color did you say? What color did you say it was?
It was either gray or dark, silver color.
Hatchback or like a sedan?
Yeah, hatchback.
Okay.
And then
So
at the time, yeah,
so where were you staying?
I was staying down at the Kootenai River Inn.
How long were you staying here for? How long was your visit? What day did you get here? What day did you leave?
We stayed about a week or so.
A week, and then you went to Super One pretty often.
Yeah. I got friends there, so I've been coming down there off and on 15 years.
Okay. So when you saw this vehicle go across the far north, did you see where it went from there?
Well, I was coming along, and I actually had to brake because he pulled up in front of me, and I thought, that's strange. He got no lights on, except he had like circle lights, as in driving lights on the front.
Okay.
And then I didn't think nothing of it, but I thought it was kind of strange. He pulled right up in front of me, and he was heading over towards the far north. He was sitting in the parking lot at Les Schwab's, and I'm coming along at 7:03 it was, and he pulled right up in front of me, and then he went over to that area, far north, and that's the last and at the time, I didn't think about license number enough because I just thought he must be in a hurry.
Okay. And you were headed to Super One at this point, or were you headed back to KRI?
No, I was heading down Super One to have ice cream.
Okay. Did you see any pedestrians out walking around town at all on that drive? Any other vehicles around? I mean, that stood out to you?
No. Just at the time, there was no cars coming towards me, and all of a sudden, out of the black, he pulled out in front of me. I had to hit the brake. I thought, that's kind of strange, idiot with no lights on. And then I went for ice cream. When I come back, I seen all the police cars, everything. And then I thought, that's strange. Something must have went down here with that car. So then a couple days went by. My good friend that lives down there, she told me that a doctor got killed. Yep. And I thought, I wonder if that vehicle, so it bothered me for about a week. I thought, I wonder if that vehicle had something to do with that crime scene.
And your friend's a local person here in Bonners Ferry?
Yes, Veldy and Rocky Burkholder. Everybody knows them around town.
Can you spell Rocky and what was the other name?
His mom's name is Veldy, Baldie.
And what was the last name?
Burkholder.
Burkholder? How do you spell that?
Here, I'll spell it for you. What is it now? B-U-R-K. B-U-R-K. B-U... Burke. B-U-R-K. Oh. You read there? Yeah. B-U-R-K. B-U-R-K-H-O-L-D-E-R, I think. That's it.
Okay.
Burkholder.
And did they tell you, do they know the doctor, Bryan Drake, at all?
I'm not sure, no. But the Beldies lived, we met Beldy at the church, at the United Memphises there. That's the church we go to. Okay. And Beldy was reading the paper, and that's when she told me about it, a few days later.
Okay.
I think it was a week after that it came out in the paper.
Okay. And so you said you've come down here for the last 15 years or so and visited off and on. Did you know Dr. Bryan?
Yeah, we usually come down to the casino and stay at the inn.
Did you know Dr. Bryan Drake at all? The doctor?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't know. But when Beldy showed me his family and everything, I thought, I wonder if that vehicle had something to do with it. And then at the time, there was just me in that vehicle. And I thought, I wonder if the police have a suspect vehicle.
Okay. Do you have a phone number for the Burkholders?
Yeah. Is there a number up there? Oh, yeah. Here we are. It's 267. 267.
Okay.
2328.
And is that a 208 area code?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What is,
They just live up on me.
Tim, what's your date of birth?
November 11th, 52.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I got for you. Hang on a second.
Tim, can you remind me what time you were kind of precise on your time? What time do you remember driving by when that Volkswagen pulled out in front of you?
It was 7. Well, my clock on my truck was a bit back, so I would say the exact time was 6:55 p.m.
Okay, and you were at Super 1 for about 30 minutes?
No, I was there at least 45 minutes now.
At Super 1?
Because when I come back from Super 1 going north back up to the casino, the police cars were everywhere, and that was around 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, what time zone is your truck clock set to? Is it Pacific or Mountain Time?
Oh no, when I come down there, I change it.
So you were on local time?
We're an hour ahead of you.
Okay, but you changed it to local time?
Yeah, I changed it to local time. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because I don't know if Belty told me or read in the paper that the crime happened around 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
Half an hour after I'd gone by. So then I got thinking, later on I found out about the doctor and this and that. I thought, I wonder if the police know if you have any vehicles in mind that might have been in the area. So that's the only thing I can tell you about that vehicle at that time.
Okay. And what were you driving? What kind of vehicle were you driving?
I was driving my yellow truck.
Yellow, what kind of?
It's a Ford F1, or Ford F-150, 2004.
2004? And it's bright yellow?
Yeah, bright yellow.
The reason I ask is we have some surveillance video, so we'll at least be able to see when you go by and piece that together.
Yeah. Because I didn't know, when I phoned earlier to the dispatch, she said something about surveillance, and I thought maybe they got a picture of the car or something. But anyways, it was silver or darker.
Okay.
Car.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you. Do you have any?
Yeah. So I thought if I can help you out, that's all I can tell you.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. All right.
Okay.
It is 12:34 by my watch.
And there you have it. Everybody has the same time. Steve Hartman was at the crime scene at 7:31, which Aaliyah Sandlin said was actually 30 minutes after the gunshot. And here, Tim Hand saying that he saw that silver hatchback at just about 6:55, 7 o'clock. The only person that is sticking to that time frame of 7:30 of driving over and seeing the guy running off and trying to find him is Isaac Funderburg. The other three witnesses, they basically know that things happened at least 30 minutes before 7:30. If there were those two gunshots, was the second gunshot the one that went through the window, the glass window, and was that the staging? Was the first gunshot from back behind the building, and why Isaac Funderburg drove over there at just around 7 o'clock? That 6:55, 7 o'clock time frame would actually also be consistent with the black vehicle that catches air that we see on the Mobile Liberty gas station cameras, and then it goes into the little cul-de-sac area. You hear Isaac Funderburg talk about that. You hear him then talk about the fact that he then sees it fire up its lights and races off out of there after the cops all fly by. Based on the Liberty cameras, that happens all well before 7 o'clock. That fast, dark car leaving Drake's area to Tyler looks like it might have caught air, seeing El Paso, turns around in Moore's back lot. Then the dark car returns to El Paso and then goes north on 95, the opposite way that the cops went because they went south. This happens at 6:53 and 35 seconds and 6:52 and 54 seconds. Next week on Who Really Killed Bryan Drake. Well, it's clear that there was, I believe, 2 gunshots. Everyone says that they heard 2 gunshots when they explain like the 2 gunshots. I think that they were just a little bit more spread out. That 6:55, 7 o'clock area, and then the staging shot for the window, that would be the one that happens right around that, 7:15, 7:20. And then we still have this miraculous 911 call that Bryan Drake's wife makes right after being on the phone with him. And she alleged that she was on the phone with him from 7:17 until 7:26. Extending what you would think is Bryan's life to 7:26. But is that correct? Is that story accurate? Who Really Killed Bryan Drake podcast can be seen and heard on Truth and Transparency's YouTube channel. All podcast episodes for Who Really Killed Bryan Drake can be seen and heard in their entirety on the YouTube channel Truth and Transparency playlist Who Really Killed Bryan Drake podcast.